Hey y'all, it's Ashley from I Have Plans for You, and I'm back with another lettering tutorial video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I did these spooky Halloween themed lettering ideas that you can use in your journals and your planners. So if you want to see how I did this and kind of practice on your own, then stay tuned for the rest of the video. All right, guys. So as I said, I will be doing these lettering ideas. My 9-year-old daughter gave me the idea for the word eek. And then we have Happy Halloween with a ghost. We have slime that's dripping down, and then the word boo with two little eyes. And so I thought that'd be pretty cute to show you all how I did these. I have this is one of my dot grid notebooks that I sell in my shop. Remember that all these designs are done by me. I'm going to use another one of those notebooks from my Lovely Spots of Happiness collection that was out this past summer. And this is the notebook that I'm going to open up and do these Halloween doodles, Halloween lettering examples in. If you like this video and you want to combine some of these lettering ideas with doodles, then remember we did these doodles in another bonus video this month, and these would look super cute all together in a bullet journal spread or even a planner spread. So we'll go ahead and get started. I am using these Fudenosuke colors from Tombow. I sell these in my shop, but they also sell these at Michael's. I think they may sell them at Hobby Lobby, and they're on Amazon. And this is all we're going to be using for this tutorial, this pack right here. I have a few colors. I'm using green, orange. I normally always use black. And this is the same black that you get in the lettering basics kit. It's the same hard tip black. All of these are hard tip uh, brush pens. And I'm using gray and purple. Okay. So go ahead and pull those out if you have them. I know I did a giveaway earlier this year when I announced my hand lettering book, and some of you got these, and a lot of you have these already. So that's why I wanted to use this single pack to make this an easy video with brushes that you can find. So note that this is a dot grid journal. I really love using these for practicing doodles and lettering ideas because the dots help you line up your work without the dots being too overbearing. So if you want to share this or use this in your planner or whatever, it still looks pretty nice. And these aren't, it's not like a overbearing design or harsh dots. So I'm going to start with the word eek. I have this green marker, and I did the word eek in like a serif style. So I'm going to, and I kind of um made the letters look like they were kind of falling around each other. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm using the brush tip, the like thick tip of the marker, and we're just gonna draw a line. And then I doubled that line in weight. And you bring it down just as far as you think you want to bring it. For this, I think this is fine. And then make sure that these two lines are parallel and that this line is parallel to those two. Thicken up the lines where you see fit. And then my next two E's are lowercase. And so I'm just going to put them in, kind of tuck them in here. Again, I'm thickening up certain spots. I want all of the thick spots to be the same, and then all of the thin sides of the letter to be the same width as well. So it's okay to kind of go back and thicken some things up. I don't want you all to think that we don't do that. And so I think it's good to show you all that we do that in this process. I'm doing the other E, and again, thickening and making sure, go kind of slow if you need to. This video is real time, so you can see about how I letter. And also look at the fact that I'm trying to stay the same distance away from each other with each letter. I'm going to extend this K up just a little bit so that it's closer to the length of the E so we can stay consistent in the sizing of the letters. And then I'm doing a slightly curved uh, top part there. And then just to give it, I know this is a downstroke, but I'm not going to make this downstroke as thick as the other strokes. So we have kind of like the base of the word here. Now I'm going to go in and add the serifs. So we have sans serif styles and serif styles. These little kind of like tick marks on the end are what we're referring to when we say serifs. Sans means none. So if I would have left it without these little tick marks, then it would have been sans serif. I'm going to take the liberty here to not take that tick mark all the way out on the E since it came a little close to this lowercase e. And then I will add the serifs on to these E's. Now, there are plenty of ways that you can add serifs. You don't have to do them in those traditional ways or the traditional way, like even you're saying I'm doing them, kind of adding them just at the ends. It's your work. And remember, one special thing about hand lettering is that you're kind of creating a new TypeScript, or some people think of it as like creating a new font. So I have that there. And then I'm going to go in and put some exclamation marks. On that first copy, we had the one exclamation mark. I'm trying to see if I like that, if I want to add another exclamation mark over here. I think that's fine. So go back in, touch up your lines if you need to. These are really good for beginners and really good for if you need to go back in and touch up a line, the tip isn't so soft that it maneuvers without you being intentional. So now I'm going to go back and take this purple color, and I'm doing a shadow, but it's not in the typical way. I'm doing lines and dots. The important thing to remember about shadows, though, is to stay on the same side. So if you start on the left and top, stay on the left and top. In this particular case, I started on the bottom and right, as I typically do with most of my lettering. It's usually on the bottom and right. But if you were doing a piece that had more of an illustration to it, then you would find where the light source is coming from. So if you have a piece and it has the sun in it, then you probably want your shadows to be on the other side from where the sun is. When you're doing your shadows, go kind of slow, okay? To make sure that you have the same amount of space between your shadow. Oops, I put that one in the wrong spot. I've never done that before. Maybe I'm talking too much trying to do this tutorial. But that means that I can show you an easy way to fix things like that, which I'll do here in just a second when I get them all done. But yeah, as I was saying, you want to keep your shadows on the same side of the letters. If you're doing lettering inside of an illustration where you kind of like drew the sun or a lamp or something like that, then your shadows would go kind of like on the opposite side of the object. And I just thought this was a cute little way to do like a shadow. So I'm going to show you how I would fix something like this. And where would we be without our size 10 Jelly Roll pen? This is one of my favorites, if not my favorite, white gel pen, but any white gel pen would work. I like these. They match the color white of most papers that you're on. But that's kind of the key. So if you have paper that's not white, then you can fix your mistakes with the color that you have. But I'm gonna go here. And with these pens, you kind of need to dab a little bit versus just kind of drawing right away so you don't get streakiness. And you might have to go over it again. But right now, it looks like it's pretty well and fixed. I'll go back in so I can add this shadow on the inside of the E. And also, we needed this white gel pen because I added these kind of like glossy points on ink. And I will add those in now. See those? And you can add these in any way that you want to. I love the look of the line plus the dot like I'm doing, so I'm doing that here. But if you just wanted to do a line or like a thicker line, a few dots or something like that, any of that is fine. And you see, just with that white gel pen, it looks like a masterpiece. Okay, we'll move on to Happy Halloween. And just so you can remember what it looked like, is this one here with the ghost on it. So what I did first was I used this purple brush pen, scoot down a little bit from ink because we're going to start with the word Halloween. I tend to start with my biggest word or my longest word or the word that I want to pop the most. And so I fit the other words around it. We're going to go ahead and write Halloween. And this is in a brush lettering style. Remember, if you need help with brush lettering, I do have the introduction to my brush lettering basics video on my channel, and that's free. But if you want the last two parts, then go check out my Patreon. This is like a bouncier style. This is kind of the style that if you order the custom brush names for me, this is the style that that's in. To a degree, because I don't use as many loops when I do you all's names. But I also have a practice book that you can download if you want to practice your brush lettering. And I like brush lettering for you all here on YouTube because you can see how slow I actually go. There are tons of videos where I have it sped up just because um, it's a lot of time it takes. And I did something a little interesting here just to make the word interesting. So this is the lowercase e. And then I'm going to put an uppercase E. And then fit the N right in there. Bring that hump up a little bit to keep it all even. So I bounced it, but it's still pretty even. Now I'm going to go in with this orange color and write the word happy. So I just kind of eyeball it, and I know this HAPPY. I'm trying to make sure that that happy, and you don't have to do this. If you want happy to be more, if you want it to be right aligned or left aligned, you can do that. When I want it in the middle, I eyeball it. I think about how many letters I have and what that middle letter is, if there is one, and I kind of visually place that in my mind. So that P would be here. I have A and then H. Okay. And I'm doing happy in a similar way to the word eek, where it's not completely, it's not, brush lettered in the typical sense of the kind of more cursive or script style. And then I'm gonna do something fancy with that crossbar for the H and the A, but I'm not going back in and making some of the strokes too thick. It's a little thinner than ink. Okay. I'm being mindful of the spacing, and I'm gonna go ahead and start with that serif just to make sure that line is even. And when I say be mindful of the spacing, I mean the spacing between the letters. In this case, I know that I'm also going to add a shadow. So that's one of the things I'm being mindful of is, do I have enough space for the shadow? But also, are my letters evenly spaced? Okay. I'm just thickening the Y so that it's about the same as the rest of the letters. I'm gonna go ahead and add the crossbar for happy. It's okay if you need to turn your paper a little bit. And I wanted that crossbar from the H and the A to kind of cross into each other like that. So we're done with the basis of Happy Halloween. Now we're gonna go in and add some shadow. I took the gray brush pen and I am adding shadow to the Halloween down here. And remember, go slow, which I'm not doing because I'm talking. But go slow and be mindful of the space between the shadow and the actual word. So I would consider this video kind of like intermediate level lettering. And it's not just brush lettering because we're doing other lettering styles here. We're adding shadows and other fun things to our letters that kind of elevate this from a basic brush lettering video. And you guys said you wanted to see more brush lettering, which I really enjoy. So, of course, there will be more videos like this. I'll tell you this too. When you're using the white gel pen, you want to give your work a little bit of time to dry before you go in with it because it will pick up color. So you notice some spots at the beginning where I wasn't going as slow, and so my shadows are not evenly spaced from the word, but I didn't go right back in right away to fix those because I'm trying to allow this to dry a little further. Okay, let's make sure we didn't miss any spots. I don't see that we did, so I'm going to go back in with this Jelly Roll pen and um fix up these spots where I got a little too close with the shadow. The other thing that I forgot to do here that I said I was going to do was add kind of like those drippings. So I'm going to add this gel pen to the bottom of the letters so that we can go back in and add the drippings. Do not add too much gel pen here. This pen also needs to dry. because you can kind of rub it off if it doesn't dry. But I think this is great that I'm making a few mistakes in this video so that you can see how I would fix them. Okay. And everything will be linked below. Like always, everything's always linked below. Okay, so I'm gonna go while that's drying. I got the black um, brush pen, and I'm gonna do kind of like a stitching on the word happy. I'm keeping it close to the left side of the thick part of the letters, and it's just these little dashes, but it kind of looks like the letters are stitched down. It kind of gave me like Frankenstein vibes. I don't know, it was spooky to me, so try to keep them the same distance apart and the same length. And yours can be longer than mine or shorter than mine, whatever your preference is. Or you can just do one straight line. Okay, while I'm still waiting on that to dry, we'll go ahead and do our ghost. So I kind of had the ghost peeking out of the side here a little bit. We're going to draw this ghost the same way we did last week, but we're making it look like it's kind of peeking from out under the letters. Let the gray kind of serve as a shadow a little bit. Let's add, like, a ghost kind of, the way that we think of it, it's really just a sheet. So we're adding that shadow under the bottom of the sheet, going up into the Y. And you can add that shadow however you see fit under there. I kind of scribbled it in. If you want to color it in all the way, that's great. Now I'm going to add a cute little face. So we're adding two eyes. I normally do the circles and then color them in. It's a bit easier for me to make sure they're the same size when I do that. Two cute little eyebrows and a cute little smile, and there's our ghost. Now let's take the purple again. And to make these drippings is super easy. The word is already here. You just want to make these kind of like squiggly lines and a few dots falling from those lines. Vary them as you go down the word. And, just put them wherever you want to feel like, I don't know how your word is bouncing around on your page. It might be a little different from mine. So if you feel like, there's a different part dripping from your A than what I have, then by all means, add your little purple drippings in whatever way that you see fit. And see, this is kind of quick because you don't want to think about it too much because you don't want them to be too even because they're supposed to be like slimy and flowy. This Happy Halloween will be like probably the hardest thing we letter. I I'm not gonna add a shadow for those. I just didn't feel like it looked that nice. What I am gonna do though is go back in with the black. So what we're gonna do with the black, if you see this one, I've kind of added another shadow with this black, but also kind of like a double outline. So we're gonna go in and outline everything. When you do this first outline, don't add those shadows yet because it's hard to focus and know where you are, but stay consistent in trying to keep straight lines. And even the oh, I forgot. Let's pick up this orange again because I did not add the serifs around the H and the A. And for me, it is intentional that my A peeks out a little bit above the H. I don't know. It's quirky to me. It might not be to you. And of course, you don't need serifs at all. So if you don't want them, don't add them. Okay. But I don't know. There's something about serifs that looks a little more spooky. This is a really slow process. I'm probably going to stop talking while I'm doing it. Move your paper around if you need to. Or if you're doing this digitally, then, move your canvas on Procreate or whatever you have. And this will go all the way around both words. And I would advise not going into every little nook and cranny to keep the consistency of the spacing. And if this is stressing you out a bit, don't worry. The rest of the letters, the rest of the words that we're going to letter, I think are a little bit easier. The thing to remember, and what I see most people doing in my in-person classes is they just go too fast. They think it's supposed to be a lot faster of a process than it is. And if you feel like you finished before I did, then maybe slow down. I'm not the fastest, but you know, if you're getting frustrated, slow down. And now we're going to go back and do the insides of some of these areas. You don't have to, I just like the way it looks. Oh, I don't think I like that one, so I will get rid of that one with our gel pen. Oh, okay. So now we're going to take this same black. Remember, we're going to let that dry a little bit. I know it's dry to the touch, but when that ink touches it, you're going to realize it's not as dry as we thought it was. So now we're going to go back and add shadows under the black part. And they can be as thick or as thin as you would like for them to be. I mean, you can leave it like this if you want with no shadows. Adding shadows is also a really cool and easy way to fix mistakes. So there may be some spots where we go in and we don't actually fix them up with the gel pen. Remember, you still need to go kind of slow when you're doing this part. And see, I found a spot where I didn't add the outline, so I can fix that there. I think we'll add something here. Okay. And remember, I'm adding my shadows to the right and bottom. Okay, and you can kind of determine how you want to add your shadows and these kind of small nooks. And I'm going to add some shadow over here by the ghost. And this can get a little tedious as you're saying, but you just got to keep going. And I want to leave this video in real time so you can see how long something like this actually takes. It's not just like a quick doodle. But when you're lettering, you are actually doing more of a drawing versus just writing the words. But yeah, I'll leave this uh in real time, so if you want to, you can see how long it takes me. You can always speed the video up. As there's a speed ticker down on the left, the right bottom in the settings that you can adjust. Okay, I think we got everything. So I'm gonna go back in and fix up those spots with our jelly roll. And remember, you just kind of want to dab with this, especially on black. And you might find that once you clean up some spaces with your jelly roll, you need to go and continue cleaning up with the black pen. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in and fix this one little spot here. And I believe we're all done. Let's put some little like dabs in his eyes. Those cute little like glistening eyes. Okay. So we're all done with Happy Halloween. Now we're going to do the word slime. Then we'll do boo next. I promise these are much easier than Happy Halloween was. So for the word slime, we're going to pick back up our green brush pen and we're going to write the word slime. So it doesn't matter if you're thinking about thick or thin strokes at this point. You do kind of want to map your word out. So if you want it to be in the center of the page, so Slime, and I'll go ahead and start writing. And right now we just want the shape of the letters we want. Okay. Leave space because these letters are thick, but they also have a little shadow, a slightly different shadow. And then I made my M kind of bounce a bit. And the E. Okay. So right now we just have the word. Now we're going to go back in and thicken up and round out the letters. One reason I really like these brush pens too is they kind of act similar to alcohol markers in that you don't get as much streaking if you're like coloring with them and you have to fill in space like we're doing with these letters. You know that streaking that you get with like a Crayola marker? So I'm just rounding off here. Kind of round the bottom just a little bit more. Once you round it off, just fill it in. See, I told you this is already a little more therapeutic and slightly easier than the last word. Now we're doing the I. Try to make sure that the letters are the same thickness the whole way through. And while you're thickening them up, stay mindful, like you're hopefully already doing, of the spacing between the letters. So yeah, you need to take your time on this one too, but it's just not as tedious as the other one. And I don't know if y'all can hear my dog who has decided to make his debut in my video. Okay, so we have the base of the word. We're going to do the same thing we did with these little dots here. I mean, with these little drippings here, but this word is a little larger. So just add your little drippings in whatever way you see fit. Fill them in. I chose not to add any to the eye, but you can add some there if you think that it makes sense for what you did, for what you wrote, what you drew. And since this is slime, well, this is the word slime, And slime is kind of shiny. We're gonna go back in and add some of those slime, those shiny marks to it. We're gonna do that with our gel pen again. This time I'm just adding these kind of blobby spots to make it look like they're these shiny areas. So be sure to add a few dots and lines in the actual blobs that you drew down below. And you see, just adding a little bit of gel pen can transform it a lot. And don't go overboard. The point of this shiny spot is to, just make it look shiny, make it look like those little raised levels on the on slime that you would have. I feel like I'm running out of ink, but I keep packs of these. So if you notice that it's not really coming out as, like you would like, then start to kind of tap the pen down, or you can always try to, do that old pen trick where you write on another sheet of paper to get the ink flowing. That works with these too. But we're just adding little shine marks. I will say if you let these Jelly Roll pens dry, if you let it dry down a bit, then you can go back over what you did really lightly because you can scrape it back up if you're not gentle. But really lightly kind of just go over the spots you've already done and the white will pop a little more. And it doesn't take, too long to dry, but you do want to make sure it dries for stuff like this. All right, now I'm finished going back over that white gel pen. What I'm going to do now is take the orange and we're going to do a more traditional style of a shadow that you're used to seeing. I'm going to stay on the right and bottom of this word again. And this shadow is actually touching the word. And I am pressing down a bit as I move down. Again, I'm not going into the actual drippings, but that's just a personal preference of mine. If you want to do that, then just remember to keep your shadow on the same side of the drippings. I'm using the brush tip to my advantage here. And when I want a thicker line, I'm just pushing down a little harder. And I really like how the green and orange look together. If you're new to doing shadows, then slow down to make sure that you get your shadow exactly the thickness that you want it. Even if you're not new to doing shadows and you're struggling with them, the biggest tip is slow down. All right, and just like that, we're done with the word slime, and we're gonna go down to the word boo, which we're doing in black. The base of that one is in black. So I'm gonna do this kind of slightly fancy B. Remember, it's B-O-O, and my two O's are kind of connected. So I'm going to do the B about here, and I'm pushing down. I'm gonna go back in and actually thicken this up. Remember when you brush lettering, you pick up between each stroke. And now I'm going to kind of do like this squiggly curly Q at the end of B. Okay, so now that I have that connected, I'm going to go in and thicken up the B before I do the O's. And the reason I'm thickening it up before is so that when I start to get ready to do the O's, I'll know what I need to expect for spacing. All right, so I thought that'd be cute to come down to a point since it's Halloween. Now I'm going to do the O's. And remember, the O's are going to be like eyes. I'll show you real quick. They're going to be like eyes. So I'm going to do them in the same way. I don't want them to be quite as high as the B because I want to add eyebrows, but they're going to be pretty close. So thinking about the shape of my O and spacing, that's how I decided that's how I kind of decided on this size. I'm going to go back and thicken this one up. And then I'm going to do my other eye and try to get it the same size as, well, it's an I, but it's an O. Get it the same size as that O. And when you're going through and thickening things up, that's the time to be super mindful because that's when you can kind of clean things up too. Clean up your letters. I'm going to go ahead and put these cute little eyebrows. And I guess it would have been better if I turned my page, but I was trying to keep it at an angle for you here on YouTube. And now I'm going to go and add the pupils of the eyes, which I have mine kind of just knocking up against each other. This googly-eyed ghost character, similar to the eyes that we did for the cute monsters earlier this month in that doodle tutorial. And I'm just going through and checking the shape and size of the eyes that I've chosen. Okay, that's the basis of Boo. I'm going to go in with the gray Furunosuke and do the same kind of shadow we did for Slime. When you're doing a shadow with a black marker, since all of the other markers are lighter than black, it's kind of like the easiest to do shadows with. So if you're getting started and you just want to practice your shadows, I would suggest doing a word in black and shadows in gray or another color. One of my favorite color grays to do shadows in is the gray from the mild liners. It's like the perfect color, like mild looking gray. So we're going to add that shadow on the eyes as well, the O's that are eyes. And now we're just going to go back in with our white jelly roll. I like to add a few little kind of like glisten dots to my eyes, like the light is hitting them a little bit. That gives them a little bit of character, and now they look a bit more cute and adorable. I will say if you want to practice gel pen on a color too, white on this particular black Fudenosuke marker, and I just put my hand right there. But this particular jelly roll with this black pen always pops every single time. So the fact that I put my hand right there, no problem. Since that's white, we can just cover it back up with our black, and we're all done, guys. Let me know if you like this tutorial. If you did like it, be sure to actually click the like button and subscribe. Links to where you can find me and my shop are all below. I will also link these markers, the Jelly Roll pen, and these notebooks. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Please leave me a comment so I know you're here. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.